My butt's been wiped. My butt's been wiped. My butt's been wiped. That's a quote from the President of the United States of America, Joe Biden. Joe Biden came walking out of the White House, just about to get into a helicopter, and he says, "My butt's been wiped." Look, Joe Biden has been deteriorating for the last few years, and if you did not know that, it's because you are watching the wrong news channels, okay? So when he does the debate with Trump, and then he's doing all these interviews trying to cover for the debate and how terrible it was, and then he just makes it even worse in the interviews by mumbling and bumbling away like a moron all the time. And then when he does speeches, and then when at the end of the speech he goes, "End of quote," repeat the line, and reads the fucking direction notes as well as the lines. And when you see him waddling around like a fart in a trance, not knowing where he is, not being able to speak properly, looking like he's just shat his pants because he probably fucking has, that doesn't happen overnight, all right? And all of these news reporters that are going, "Oh my God, this debate was terrible. He looks like he's losing it. Oh no," and now he's dropping out of the fucking presidential race because he's unfit. Like, this is after they told you, "Oh no, he had a cold." And then they changed that to, no, he had jet lag because he had a plane ride 2 weeks before the debate. Who the fuck has jet lag 2 weeks after the flight? Sometimes you only go on holiday for 2 weeks. Do you have jet lag for the entire holiday? That's never happened to anyone. That's complete nonsense. And my favourite one, "Oh no, he's just got a stutter." He's always had a stutter. It's nothing to do with him being old and senile. He's always had a stutter, and just because he's old and grey, you lot think that he's demented. Really? Do you not realise that his entire career is on video? And you could go back at any time and see that he did not have a stutter. Go back and watch him do that big speech about how anyone who's found with this amount of crack cocaine, it's like the smallest amount of crack cocaine, this amount of crack cocaine, you deserve to go to prison for 5 years. 5 years for possession. Not drug dealing, just possession. Crack cocaine. And now we've got his son doing crack cocaine on camera. But he's not going to prison for 5 years. Yeah, go back and watch Joe Biden ranting about how anyone in possession of crack cocaine needs to go to prison for 5 years. He does not have a stutter. I said this to someone once and they went, "Oh my God, you're a monster." I was like, "I'm a monster? What?" They were like, "He developed a stutter after his family died in a car accident. It's because of trauma." And I was like, "Really? Well, how come he's on the Howard Stern show sitting there going on about how he had a stutter when he was a young boy and his mum stuck up for him and she's a hero and all that shit? Get your story straight, for fuck's sake." It's a bit like him having a cold. "Oh no, he's got jet lag. Oh no, he's got COVID. Let's change the lie every time we get caught in a lie. Let's just cover the lie with another lie." But anyway, I'm not here to go on an anti-Joe Biden rant and talk about how much of a piece of shit he is. I could go on for hours. But that's not really what I'm getting at here. What I'm getting at is, pre the Donald Trump-Joe Biden debate, it was like a conspiracy theory made up by right-wingers that he's got dementia. Oh, just because he's got a stutter, you think he's demented. Even though it's not just a stutter. It's the fact that he keeps falling over every 5 minutes and he can't find his way off the stage after doing a speech and he keeps falling asleep in public. He apparently sleeps for 18 hours a day. Oh, and he's on the White House lawn saying, "My butt's been wiped." What does "my butt's been wiped" mean? If I had just taken a shit and wiped my ass, I would say, "I just wiped my ass." And it'd be a strange detail to mention. It would be the taking the shit part that you'd mention. You wouldn't really mention whether you wipe your ass or not. "My butt's been wiped" indicates someone else is wiping his butt. Why is someone else other than him wiping his ass? Jesus. So anyway, my point isn't about Joe Biden. That's not the point here. The point is, if you never saw the clip of him saying "my butt's been wiped," and if you didn't know that he keeps falling over and he doesn't know where he is and he keeps saying things wrong and all of this shit, and the first time you realised anything was wrong is when you saw his eyeballs rolling around in his head during the debate and then his wife having to help him down 2 steps. If that was the first time you realised that, you need to question why that was the first time you realised that, when there's all of this evidence of his dementia. Why is it suddenly okay to notice that he's falling apart? Oh, because the people on the news are saying it now and he's dropping out of the presidential race, and now it's a fact. Before it wasn't a fact, it was right-wingers making it up, but now it's suddenly a fact because left-wingers on the news are saying it's a fact. Are you fucking serious? So my point is, this is where you should be realising that you're listening to the wrong people. Whatever news channels you watch, whatever podcasts you listen to, that have been telling you he's fine all this time, and now they're suddenly going, oh, no, it looks like he's kind of actually falling apart all of a sudden. And they reckon he always had a stutter, and they've lied to you with all of this shit. And he had a cold, and he had jet lag. What you're supposed to be doing right now is going, oh my God, I've been listening to a bunch of liars, and I need to rethink my sources. I want to listen to the people that have been saying this all along, because they were right. And if you don't want to do that, then that's on you. But I never want to hear you ever mutter the words again about misinformation and disinformation and credible sources and all of this bollocks. The sources that you've been getting your news from are not credible. They're a bunch of fucking liars. If I can see all the way from over here in England that he's demented and have been able to see it for years, then how can American news reporters that are supposed to be paying close attention to what's going on not know that? And they've only just figured it out. Oh my God, did you see that debate? He was actually fucking demented. There's still people out there now trying to say he's absolutely fine and it's all made up, even though he's dropping out of the race because he's not fine. So what you are supposed to do now is go, oh my God, these people are a bunch of liars that just have a political agenda. I need to start listening to someone else. But you don't want to do that, because if you acknowledge that they're blatantly lying to you about this, then maybe they lied to you about other stuff. Maybe they lied to you about the 2020 election totally not being rigged and you're not allowed to even talk about it. Maybe they lied to you about the vaccine being safe and effective. Maybe they're lying to you about climate change. But this Joe Biden thing isn't even something that you can get wrong. This is why I'm pointing it out, that they're obviously lying to you. When an event happens, you can do a story about it too soon, get stuff wrong, and then later on you can go, oh, actually the story's changed, it's actually this. And you can still maintain credibility even though you initially got it wrong. If you recover from that and go, oh no, I've got it wrong, this is actually this. But when something is ongoing for 3.5 years and they've just been lying to your face every single day, and then once the truth emerges to the point where it's blatantly obvious to everyone and you can't ignore it anymore, then suddenly they go, oh, it looks like he's demented. Out of nowhere. Are you going to let them get away with that? You're going to carry on listening to these people? You're basically sitting there going, feed me the bullshit that I'm supposed to believe in now, instead of give me the news. But yeah, here's the biggest lie that they get away with every single day, is when these liars sit there and tell you, hey, don't listen to those people over there, they're a bunch of liars. And you obey that. You're like, oh yeah, I'll never listen to them. Anyone that's been cancelled or banned from the internet or banned from mainstream media, it's probably because they're big liars. It's probably because they spread misinformation. Coming from the people that have been telling you that Joe Biden is tip-top, he's sharp as a tack. And what are these liars doing now? They're going, okay, we admit it. Joe Biden's totally fucking fallen apart. But so's Trump. He's old too. So now that they admit that Joe Biden's fallen apart, they're just going to say, well, so is Trump. Look at him. He's fallen apart. And he's not falling apart. And by the way, that's another thing. Any criticism of Joe Biden over the last few years, people say, that's ageism. It's ageist. And it's like, no, you've been denying and covering for Joe Biden. And now what they're actually engaging in with Trump is ageism. They're going, he's too old, even though there's nothing wrong with him. They're just going, he's old. It's like, well, what's wrong with being old? I thought you said that was ageist. Donald Trump has got more energy than most 20-year-olds. And you just saw him get shot, and then he jumped up and started raising his fist in the air and shouting his head off. If Joe Biden got shot, Joe Biden can get knocked down by a gust of wind. He doesn't even need a gust of wind. He just falls over for no reason. It's no comparison. If Donald Trump says that he went to the shop on Tuesday, and then he goes, oh no, not Tuesday, it was actually Wednesday, the people on the news will say that his brains are melting before your eyes and he's falling apart. But Joe Biden, if you actually watch his speeches and if you watch just everything that's happened over the last few years, it's embarrassing to even watch it. And I'm someone who doesn't like Joe Biden, but even I go, oh my God, this is actually sad. The saddest one, the one that is actually just like, it just makes your heart sink. You just go, oh my God, is when his wife, Jill Biden, is going, well done, you answered all the questions. And he's just standing there with this dumb-ass smile on his face, like, a butter, a good. And everyone starts cheering. He doesn't even really understand why they're cheering. He's just standing there like a fucking melon. It's so humiliating. And his wife acting like that and just basking in the spotlight. She's just, what a fucking disgusting witch. I can't even believe what a shameless piece of shit she is. And even though I do feel sorry for Joe Biden in fleeting moments, it is only a fleeting moment. Because then I suddenly remember, why do I feel sorry for this guy? He's always been a complete dick. And also, I haven't even mentioned all of the videos of him, like, groping little children and sniffing them and sniffing women and groping women and all of this inappropriate shit that he's always done. And, like, yeah, the people on the news, like I said, this isn't about Joe Biden. It's about the people on the news covering for him all over the place. And it's like, when are you going to get it that they're not trustworthy? These are the same people that went absolutely ballistic over Trump saying grab her by the pussy for a joke when he didn't realise he's being recorded, right? And they said that this was an admission of rape. He admits to raping women. That's what they said. Because he was telling a guy on a bus, yeah, I'm so famous, women just throw themselves at me. You can do whatever you want. Just kiss them, grab them by the pussy. And I don't even think he was being serious. Even if he was being serious, he's talking about groupies that are like, hey, grab me by the pussy. You're a billionaire celebrity. Meanwhile, Joe Biden gropes people's children in front of the parents while on camera, and you just ignore it. We make excuses for it, and we just cover for it. These people are fucking liars. How many times? They sit there feeding you lies all day long, and anything that's true, they call it a conspiracy theory. Don't look into it. Conspiracy theory. Look, let me make it really simple for you. It's called the process of elimination, all right? Let's just go down the list of the conspiracy theories that aren't true, and then all the others are true. It's that simple. Ready? Here's the conspiracy theories that don't have any evidence, and it's just stupid to go in, like, obsess over it. It's stupid, right? The earth is flat. No evidence for that. Everything's controlled by the Jews, man. Everything's the Jews, man. It's the Jews. That's bollocks. QAnon, anything they come out with, they come out with some serious shit, like Tom Hanks has been arrested, he's in Guantanamo Bay, Hillary Clinton's in Guantanamo Bay, everyone's dead and they're lizards dressed up in human skin. All of this crap. Just stay away from any of that shit, right? The earth is flat. The Jews, man. Everything's the Jews. And QAnon. Stay away from that. Anything else that you've heard as a conspiracy theory ain't. It's true, and they're just lying to you. Anyone that's into all of this flat earth shit are just people that are basically bored of everything that's on Netflix, bored of everything that's on YouTube, and they just want a never-ending rabbit hole that has no bottom to it, so that they're always occupied. Because you're never going to get to the bottom of the rabbit hole with the flat earth or the Jews or any of that, all right? So there's just no point in looking into it. It just goes on and on and on. All the other stuff, everything you've heard about the vaccine, everything you've heard about the 2020 election in America, everything you've heard about climate change, if you actually look into it, there's evidence for that side of the argument that that's being hidden from you by the mainstream media. And as I've just pointed out with the Joe Biden thing, they lie to you about everything else. They're literally crafting a reality and trying to make you believe in it. And the only way they get away with it is they are relying on your ignorance. They're hoping you just don't ever look into this stuff. And maybe you have looked into some conspiracy theories before, and then you found a load of flat earth bollocks and a load of Jew bollocks, and you went, this is all bollocks. So then you went back to the mainstream. It's like, no, just stay away from that shit. Everything else is real. 9/11, JFK. JFK is a good starting point. If you've always stayed away from conspiracy theories and you think conspiracy theorists are crazy, JFK and the assassination is a good one to start with. That'll open your eyes. Because the official story, the official narrative is so obviously not true, it's unbelievable. What they reckon happened is impossible. So you know they're lying and you know that there's a conspiracy. Once you wrap your head around that, all of the other stuff seems easier to understand. You just go from there. The vaccine stuff is a tricky one because it's all science and it's all above your head. You don't understand it all and you have to listen to experts, but then there are actually other experts. Same climate change. Like, you have to know what you're talking about, and none of us know what we're talking about, do we? We have to listen to the experts. So those ones are more difficult to navigate. But the 2020 election, it's easy. Just go and listen to all those people that you were told not to listen to, and it'll become pretty evident pretty quickly. The reason why things like QAnon are so dangerous, I actually believe that they're controlled opposition trying to fuck up the fact that people are actually discovering real stuff, is because most QAnon conspiracy theories are actually based on real conspiracy theories, and then they add a load of ridiculous shit to it to discredit it. So if you ever hear anything about that stuff, you go, oh, isn't that ridiculous shit that I heard about? So it's like, if you believe that the 2020 election was stolen, then that means that Trump really won, right? But then QAnon takes that and adds to it and goes, yeah, Trump is actually the president right now, and he's secretly controlling things. It's like, why would you even want to believe that? That means that Trump's fucking up America. Why would you want to believe that? So it's like, imagine if your husband was cheating on you, and then there's a photograph of him leaving another woman's house and kissing her on the doorstep. You see that photograph and you're like, oh my God, my husband's cheating on me. What QAnon does is takes that photograph, and then also in the photograph there's now unicorns and dinosaurs and shit. So if you saw a photo of your husband kissing another woman while sitting on a unicorn with a dinosaur in the background, you'd be like, well, I don't really believe that my husband's cheating on me now. It discredits the idea that your husband's cheating on you. So that's what QAnon does. It takes real stuff and then puts unicorns and dragons in it, so that when you hear about the real stuff, you go, oh, that's that unicorn dragon bullshit. So it's dangerous. Flat Earth is just obviously not true. I get into arguments with flat earthers and I'm like, okay, if the Earth's flat and then the sun's going around us inside a dome, when the sun sets, wouldn't the sun get smaller as it goes away? But it doesn't, does it? It stays the same size. And they're like, yeah, but what about NASA? And I'm like, oh, just change the subject, why don't you? They just change the subject, and they just, like I said, they just want their never-ending rabbit hole. I understand if you don't want to become a conspiracy theorist because you've seen these Muppets, and you're like, what if I become like that? I'm never looking at that. Just stay away from the obvious nonsense and just do a little digging. Just do a little digging. Go, oh my God, they're lying to me about Biden. What else are they lying about? And go and listen to the people they told you not to listen to. It's that simple. Stop listening to the liars. You've just found out they're lying to you. Start listening to the people that they told you not to listen to. It's that easy. And I can't believe it's taken this long. But this is it. We're at the end of the line now, where it's like, you've just seen Joe Biden on stage with his eyeballs rolling around in his head, and he can't get down 2 stairs. And his wife's going, well done, like he's a fucking 3-year-old. But people were telling you for 3 years that he's fine. You now know he's not. So switch it off. Change your sources. Acknowledge that you have been listening to misinformation. Start listening to the people that they told you not to listen to. Because if you want to carry on listening to these fucking liars, and if you want to dig your heels in, then I hope you realise that you are putting clown makeup on. And I'm just, everyone around you is just coming up to you and going, hey, hey. That's them squidging your clown nose, all right? You're humiliating yourself when you carry on listening to bullshit. Learn from your mistake. And I don't want to hear you going, well, how do I know that the people you listen to aren't liars too? Maybe they're all liars. How do I know? Maybe you've been believing in bullshit too. You don't get to criticise people you haven't listened to. That's like doing a review on a movie that you haven't seen. Your opinion means nothing. I've told you what to do. The earth is round. The Jews aren't responsible for everything. QAnon is unicorn dragon bullshit. Everything else is real. Go and look at it. If you want to carry on listening to your so-called credible sources because you don't listen to misinformation and you don't believe in conspiracy theories, then all I have to say to you is, hey, hey, my butt's been wiped. Hey, hey.